It is 3 in the morning. The ceiling looks exactly the same as it did an hour ago. You know this ceiling. You have memorized this ceiling. The crack near the left corner. The way the streetlight from outside makes a thin orange line across the wall. Your body is tired. Your mind is not. And somewhere in the distance, not in your chest, not yet, there is a number being written. You just don't know it yet. Here is the question nobody asks at the doctor's office, or in the productivity article, or in the sleep hygiene checklist your friend sent you. What if insomnia is not a health problem? What if insomnia is a billing system, not a metaphor, an actual invoice, one that gets longer every month you don't sleep, charged against your salary, your decisions, your ability to see an opportunity before it disappears? There is a name for what is happening to you every night you lie awake. We will get to it. But first, the number. Think of your attention as a bank account. Every hour of quality sleep deposits something into it. Call it cognitive capital. Reaction time, emotional regulation, the ability to see 2 moves ahead in a conversation. Every night of broken sleep makes a withdrawal. The problem is the withdrawals don't announce themselves. You don't wake up and think, I am operating at 60% today. You wake up and think, I am fine. I have coffee. But the invoice keeps running. Workers with diagnosed sleep disorders earn, on average, $2,496 less per year than workers without them. Same job title, same years of experience, same company, $2,496. That is not a health statistic. That is a salary gap. Written in the language of sleep. Scale that number outward and the picture becomes uncomfortable. The United States loses up to $411 billion every year to insufficient sleep. Not to illness, not to absenteeism, to the quiet, degraded performance of people who showed up, sat down, and operated at a fraction of what they were capable of, without knowing it. 1.2 million working days. Gone. Not to accident or crisis. To the ordinary ceiling staring of people who cannot turn their minds off. And the number gets worse after 40. We will come back to that. 45. That is the number of productive workdays the average person with chronic insomnia loses every year. Not days off sick, not vacation. Days present at the desk, eyes open, technically working, while the brain runs at diminished capacity. 45 days. That is 9 work weeks every year. The part of your brain responsible for long-term planning, impulse control, and financial judgment is called the prefrontal cortex. Neuroscientists at Duke University found that a single night of poor sleep changes the way this region assigns value to economic choices. Not slightly, measurably. The brain, operating without adequate rest, begins to overweight potential gains and underweight potential losses. In plain language, when you're sleep-deprived, your brain becomes systematically more optimistic about risk. You accept the contract that pays slightly less because negotiating feels like too much effort. You buy the thing you didn't need at 11 at night because the impulse arrives and the break is not there. You say yes to the meeting, the commitment, the additional responsibility, because the part of you that calculates the real cost is running on empty. This is where the story stops being about sleep. Because what we have just described is not a sleep problem with financial consequences. It is a loop, and the loop has a name. Researchers at Rice University published a study in December 2025 documenting what they called a predictable sequence. Economic stress at the end of the workday predicted elevated anxiety at bedtime. Elevated anxiety at bedtime predicted insomnia symptoms overnight. Insomnia symptoms overnight predicted degraded cognitive performance the following morning. Degraded performance predicted poorer financial decisions throughout the day. Poorer financial decisions by end of day. Predicted economic stress that evening. The loop closes and opens again. This is not a chicken and egg problem. This is a closed circuit. And the circuit does not care whether you entered it from the stress side or the sleep side. Once you are inside it, it runs. The conversation around insomnia has always framed it as a discipline failure. Better sleep hygiene. No screens after 9. Put your phone in another room. And some of that helps some people. But here is what that framing erases. The person lying awake at 3 in the morning is not failing at discipline. They are caught in a system that was not designed for them. The financial stress that feeds the insomnia is real. The insomnia that degrades the financial decisions is real. The gap, $2,496 per year, is real. Telling someone to journal their way out of a closed economic loop is like handing someone a bandage and calling it architecture. Here is what the data is actually saying underneath the numbers. The people who cannot sleep are not, in the majority, people who do not care about their health. They are people whose nervous systems were never given permission to be safe, whose minds learned early that rest is dangerous, that the moment you stop watching, something goes wrong. And so the invoice runs. Not because they are weak, not because they are undisciplined, but because the most expensive thing a person can carry is a mind that does not know how to stop working. The sleep gap between the financially stable and the financially stressed is not a coincidence. It is a reflection of who gets to feel safe enough to close their eyes. And we have never, as a culture, as an economy, as a system, asked who built the ceiling they are staring at, or who profits from them staying awake. The person at 3 in the morning is not broken. They are running an operating system that was written for a different kind of world, one where the danger was outside the window, not inside the bank account. The decision made at 3 in the morning to keep thinking, to keep calculating, to keep the mind alert and running, was once the decision that kept people alive. It is just billing you now. The invoice was never yours to pay alone.